Good afternoon.
So you have two gadgets.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me? So
Yeah,
now
loud and clear.
you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll now start. It's already past 2 o'clock. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everybody to this pep talk today. Please mute yourself, but always show your video picture. Sign in your name, your Facebook account, or email address in the chat box. These include names of companions attending. Use the chat box to ask questions and make comments while the pep talk is on. There will be group pictures at the start and end of the pep talk. As a reminder, please take the online learning curve evaluation test exercise for mastery of learning and have a perfect score to get a certificate like the one shown below. The link has already been placed in the chat box. Another reminder, 50 OLETE certificates will entitle one mentee to a voucher for a ROJoson telemedical consultation. Okay. And then another request is that please type in your feedback in the chat box during the open forum. So let's now have a group picture taking before we start the pep talk proper. Okay, ready? Everybody ready? Phoebe, Christine, Melly. Last call. 1, 2, Melly. Okay, Christine, are you joining us? Okay. 1, 2, 3. So I have a patient empowerment program in which I like to empower the lay people or patients to take control of the management of their health. There are 3 courses in the pep talk. I completed the core course on October 9, 2021. From October 23, 2021 onwards, I have been tackling health disorder and health issue courses. This may take 3 years or longer, depending on the enthusiasm of the participants, and of course, depending on my stamina. My pep talk today is entitled CYST or BUKOL. The empowerment objective is for the lay people to have an understanding of the terminology, yung mga usage of terms, okay, terminology, of the body masses that will be useful in the health management. Background on the choice of the topic, CYST or BUKOL. In my practice for the past 40 years, I've often encountered lay people or even some health professionals like doctors using terms referring to a body differently and not to say erroneously. So iba-iba yung pagkagamit ng terms ng mga referring to the body masses. Some would use cyst or CYST in Tagalog, and some would use BUKOL. Still others would use lumps and so forth and so forth. Okay. I've been explaining to patients the correct terminology to use in describing the presence of a body mass, as even before. I even made a blog on this in 2012. Okay, so it's in the internet. So today I like to take this opportunity to clarify on this confusion again. No? Up to now, I still hear a lot of different usage of terminology. In the Philippines, a health issue or concern is the confusion over the usage and meaning of a conglomeration. Conglomeration means maraming terms, okay, relating to BUKOL, bump, mass, lump, nodule, cyst, tumor, and the like. There are other numerous related terms, but these are the more common ones heard from Filipino physicians, patients, and lay people. To simplify my talk, I will use the acronym, but when I use it to refer to something, I'll use BBMLNTC, representing bumps, BUKOL, mass, lumps, nodules, cyst, and ano ba itong T? Okay. Tumor. Okay. To refer to the conglomeration of terms. However, I will use the specific terms when I discuss them individually. In this pep talk, I will give my thoughts, perceptions, opinions, and recommendations to assist my patients and interested readers in negotiating the medical jungle. I call it medical jungle on BBMLNTC. So we know that BUKOL is a Tagalog term, but which I will explain later on after I am done with the concept of the English terms, yung mga English muna, okay? So I will present the definitions and concepts of the English terms as derived from the various online medical dictionaries and sites or internet sites. So let's start with a bump. A bump is something that bulges out or is protuberant or projects from its surrounding. The synonyms are bulge, excrescence, extrusion, gibbosity, hump, jut, prominence, protrusion, protuberance, and swelling. Okay. So yung maumbok, a bump could be maumbok in Tagalog, right? Bulges, no? Okay. So it may not necessarily mean a mass. Okay. Sometimes it may mean a mass because that's how a person use that, the perception of that person is that it's a mass, but he used the word bump. Okay. A mass, on the other hand, is a lump or a collection of cohering particles. So this is the general medical definition of a lump, of a mass. Okay. So you can see a mass is a lump, na interchange sila. So okay, mass is a lump is a mass. Okay. So the other definition given by the medical dictionary is that a mass is a unified body of matter with no specific shape, walang korte, walang specific korte, no? And I have to emphasize this because a lot of times the patient will ask me, ano yung BUKOL ba may mga itsura, may mga korte, no? So it can appear in various forms. Okay, no definite, no exact, no one form will be presented. Iba-iba, no? So a mass is also a grouping of individual parts or elements that compose a unified body or an unspecified size or quantity. So a mass could be of any size and of any quantity of cells or matters that made it into a mass. A lump. A lump is a piece of mass. Again, kita nyo? Mass, a lump, a mass of indefinite size and shape. Okay, no definite size and shape. An abnormal mass or swelling such as a neck lump. So this is another definition from Merriam-Webster. A nodule is a small collection of tissue. Okay. So this is from this particular website. Small collection of tissue. Nodule, baka it implies it's small. Okay, nodule. And then a tumor is a swollen or distended part. It could be an abnormal, benign, or malignant or new growth of tissues. And in medical term, it's usually called neoplasm if it's a new growth. Neo means new, plasm means growth, new growth. Okay, so a tumor, when you say tumor, it can either be benign or malignant. It's not necessarily malignant. Okay, so synonyms for tumor is all this one: excrescence, lumps, neoplasms, and growth, which you see in the other definitions also. So related words will be outgrowth, polyp, cyst, tubercle, wart. In another online source, a tumor is defined as a swelling, which is one of the cardinal signs of inflammation. So it's a morbid enlargement. It can also be a new growth or neoplasm. So medyo sakop lahat, no? Swelling and then a mass, a neoplasm, a new growth, no? Okay. A cyst, on the other hand, is an abnormal closed epithelium line cavity. So there's a cavity within the cyst in the body containing fluid or semi-solid fluid. Okay. So just remember this definition. This is very important because we're going to talk about cyst later on. A cyst, there is a cavity which contains fluid or semi-solid material. So in another source like the med terms, it's defined as a closed sac or capsule. There's a ballot, there's a, which usually filled with fluid or semi-solid material. So among the terms that I have just gone through, cyst is probably a more, medyo mas clear ang definition. No? So there's a sac, then there's the content will be fluid, either fluid or semi-solid. So if there's no sac, then it could be no sac, no fluid, no semi-solid materials. It could be called any BUKOL, or what, a solid mass, a lump, a tumors, etc. Okay. So if one looks at the various definitions from the online medical dictionaries or the internet sites, one can be overwhelmed with a big number of related terms and the difficulty in discriminating and deciding which ones matter most, which one matters most, or which one to use. Okay? So if one looks at the various definitions, one can deduce that bump, mass, lump, nodule, tumor, and cyst are essentially the same. That is, if loosely speaking. So parang pareho lang sila, di ba? Okay. But these terms do not connote an etiology as to the cause. Can be anything, as the cause can be anything, ranging from being cancerous or non-cancerous. And for the latter, if it's non-cancerous, it can be inflammatory or non-inflammatory, or infection or non-infection. So ito yung mga terms ito does not connote, does not mean that it's cancer or not cancer. It doesn't also mean that it's a inflammation or non-inflammation, or infection or non-infection. But after that, after saying that there is something there, the physician or the lay people will have to examine further to get the other clues, whether it's cancer or not, whether it's inflammatory or not, whether it's infection or not. Okay. So ang starting point, no connotation. Basta there's a lump, there's a mass, there's nodule, etc. However, if one looks more closely, if you scrutinize all the definitions, as I said, the word cyst somehow differs from the rest of the English terms, as it is more specific, okay, clearer ang definition. It specifically describes the nature of the contents, usually filled with fluid or semi-solid material. Okay. So strictly speaking, a bump, a mass, nodule, tumor can be cystic. When you have that terminology called bump, mass, it can be cystic if it contains fluid or semi-solid materials, and it can also be solid. Kung walang fluid, just talagang walang fluid, just call it solid, okay? Or complex. Complex means there's a combination of fluid and semi-solid and solid materials, okay? So there's such a thing as complex mass. There's a combination of fluid or semi-solid fluid and then solid materials. So thus the word cystic as well as solid and complex are descriptive of the nature of the contents within and the composition that made up the lump. So ang the usage of the cystic, the word solid and complex, it just describe the content, the nature of the content, whether it's walang fluid, may fluid, or may semi-solid components. In the Philippines, one very often hears the use of these three terms. Palagay ko, ito yung pinaka-common, yung naririnig ko. Bukol, tumor, and cyst in Tagalog, to refer to bumps, masses, lumps, nodules, tumors noted in any part of the body, either palpated or reported after X-rays or ultrasounds and other imaging diagnostic tests are done. So I suppose all of you have encountered reports of ultrasounds or imaging procedures like CT scan. You have encountered this term, nodules, thyroid nodules, breast nodules, okay? And then lumps. In medicine, the doctors usually use, especially the radiologists, they use the word nodules and tumors, okay? Or sometimes they also use the word mass, okay? But when you hear all these terms, it does not imply anything yet, okay? So strictly speaking, among the three terms, only bukol should be the Tagalog term to use to refer to all these things, bump, masses, lumps, nodules, and tumors, in which the etiology and the nature of the contents are not specified. Okay? So pwedeng gamitin the word bukol just to encompassing to refer to all these different terminologies. So based on my experience, cyst is most commonly used by Filipinos than bukol and tumor. And cyst and tumor are used with local connotation. When you say local, dito lang sa Pilipinas yun, local, okay? Different from the concept that I presented above, and also probably you can say different from the concept of other people abroad, okay? So how the local connotations came about, here are my perceived reasons. Ito yung pananaw ko, okay? So in the past, when the word cancer was an extremely dreaded word in the Philippine community, among the Filipinos, okay, Filipino physicians, when they explain to patient, they would just use the word tumor instead of saying, ay, cancer yan, no? Okay. So they don't like to use the word cancer to break the news or declare the diagnosis, baka mapigla yung pasyente, no? So they just use the word tumor. So they use another term for cancer. Kaya over the years, yung tumor has an implication na cancer, no? Kasi naging marami na may alam na cancer, and then usually, pag sinabi ng doktor, tumor siya, and then they correlate it. So over the years, the tumor has now the implication of a cancer, okay? Now, for the non-cancerous counterpart, the word cyst was used. Cyst lang ho yan. Physician was declared. Okay? Okay, cyst lang yan, or tumor ho, if they don't want to say cancer, tumor ho, no? Okay, so even patients will say, oh, cyst lang ho ito, no? Okay, so but with their self-diagnosis, sinabi ng cyst lang ito. So ang implication nito, they think that it's still benign, but a lot of times when they say the word cyst, no, it may turn out to be a cancer. So with the frequent usage of tumor to connote cancer, and over the years and up to the present, the word tumor has come to mean cancer, which strictly speaking is erroneous, as this is a term for something that can either be cancer or non-cancer. So, ingat din ako when I say tumor, baka mabigla yung pasyente, no? Because I know that they usually have a connotation. So I usually have to explain when somebody say tumor, it has no connotation. No, it's just a bukol. It can be benign or malignant. So for the same reason, the cyst, the word cyst has come to mean a non-cancerous bukol, bump, mass, lump, or nodule. So to clarify things, all bumps, masses, lumps, nodules, and tumors can be lumped together as bukol with no specification as to whether they are cancerous or not cancerous yet. More data, particularly from palpation of the mass and diagnostic tests, if needed, if indicated, are needed to determine whether they are cancerous or not. So tumor in the medical parlance is a non-specific term which does not automatically mean cancer. So we have to clarify that. Okay? It can still be non-cancerous. It can also be an inflammation or an infectious mass. Another clarification that I have to make, all bumps, masses, lumps, tumors, nodules, and bukol are said to be cyst or cystic only when on further evaluation, findings suggest that they contain fluid or semi-solid fluid. So in medical parlance and strictly speaking, as seen in the definitions and concept above, a cyst is not synonymous with a bukol. It's different from a bukol, okay? Mass, lump, nodules, tumor, as the latter can be solid or complex in content and composition. So although majority of the cystic bukol, the so-called cystic that contains fluid, will turn out to be non-cancerous, majority, mga 90% or even more depending on the body where the cyst is located, a cyst or a cystic bukol is not always non-cancerous. Okay, 1%, 2%, 3%. It's very not so common. So in a small percentage of cases, cysts may be cancerous, or it may also be an inflammation or an infectious cyst. So in the end, after the above presentation of the concept and definitions of terms and clarifications of the use of the word tumor, bukol, and cyst in the Philippines, you and I will now ask, what now? And what matters most with regards to all these terms, BBM, LNTC. To simplify things and to limit ourselves to what matters most in health and disease, so we really have to simplify things kasi very complex ang buhay ng tao, di ba? Especially when it comes to health. I recommend using or focusing on the terms mass in English or bukol in Tagalog. Okay, just these two. Use these two terms synonymously to mean the same thing. Mass or bukol in Tagalog. Okay. Use the mass or bukol to mean an unusual and abnormal collection of tissue occupying a space in any area or part of the body. It can be any shape. Walang designation of size or shape ito. It can be of any size, kahit na 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters, no? It's still a bukol or a mass. Okay? Or the shape, whether it's oval or round, it's still a bukol. It may be of any consistency, o medyo, when you say consistency, matigas o malambot, it's still a bukol. Okay? It may be cystic, solid, or complex, meaning it could be one that contains fluid or not, or no fluid at all. So by itself, it can be of any etiology. So walang specific implication on the etiology at the moment. Okay, either cancer or not cancer, until further determined by further assessment by the patient himself kung marunong na siya kumapa, which in the future I can give you some clues on how to determine what is the exact nature of the bukol or the mass, okay? Or being evaluated by a physician who can also tell, basta dapat ma-examine ng doktor kasi a lot of doctors do not examine the patient's body anymore. They just rely on yung mga diagnostic tests like ultrasound and CT scan, okay? And of course, it can also be further determined by diagnostic tests like ultrasound and CT scan. A mass or bukol, once determined to be present, is a red flag. I want to repeat this. Okay? A mass or a bukol, once determined to be present, meaning nakapa natin, nakapa ninyo, at pina-check nyo sa doktor, meron talaga, then automatically it becomes a red flag. Okay? Red flag means it has to be evaluated further to decide whether the mass is associated with a cancer or not, because this is our main worry. So if you have a mass in the body, it's at the very start, from the very start, it's always a toss-up between is it cancer or not. Then on further examination, you try to determine, titingnan mo kung cystic or solid, kung mapula o kung merong matigas, ganon, no, then the specific diagnosis would come in. Okay. Pero from the very sa umpisa pa lang, kung may nakapakay bukol, red flag na kagad siya. Okay. At times, it may not be easy to differentiate a mass or bukol from a non-mass situation, such as prominence, yung maumbok lang, malaki lang yung buto, okay? Let's say, makapal lang yung buto, may kalyo, no? Induration or swelling, namamagalang, so it's not really a mass or enlargement. Okay? So, as you and I will have to make a differentiation between a mass and a non-mass situation. Kung non-mass situation, mas kampante tayo. Not so, you don't have to be anxious about it. But if there's a mass or bukol, there's a reason to be more anxious because it is a red flag. Red flag for possible cancer. Okay. So in such instances, a physician who is an expert on palpation, usually a surgeon, will have to be consulted. If needed, the physician may recommend diagnostic procedures to do the differentiation. Once a mass or a bukol is assessed to be present, the next thing that a physician will do is to evaluate to decide whether it's cancerous or not. Basta the first question that will be asked when you palpate a mass or a physician palpated a mass or a bukol, is this cancer or not? Yan ang pinaka-importanting tanong. So, illustrations. Nakikita niyo itong bukol dito sa elbow. Okay. So, initially, we say, there is a mass or a bukol on the elbow. Okay. We don't say, there is a cyst in the elbow right away. Kasi hindi pa natin nakakapa. Hindi pa natin natatanong yung pasyente kung how does it feel at hindi pa natin nakakapa. No? Okay. So this mass could be solid or cystic. It could be benign or it could be cancerous. It could be inflammatory or non-inflammatory. Okay. So bukol muna, na-detect natin. So kakapain natin. Na? Okay. So it is only after evaluation by palpation at least that we can say that it is a cyst if the mass is depressible or compressible. When you say depressible, compressible, pag diniin niyo yung bukol at bumabaon ng konti, parang balloon, no? Lumulubog ng konti, that implies that it might contain some fluid kasi nadi-displace yung fluid. Kung di siya nadi-depress or compressible, it's most likely solid. Solid siya. Okay? So kung cystic siya, okay, medyo you make a sigh of relief because chances are it's benign. Okay? So ito yon. This is an actual patient which I saw 3 months ago. Okay? Bukol or a mass of the elbow. Kinapa ko, the mass is depressible. Therefore, it is a cyst. Okay? So I decided to do a needle because cyst may fluid, no? So I can aspirate it, no? Kasi kung solid, I won't be able to remove that, to have that mass removed just by aspiration. So on needle aspiration, fluid is obtained. So ito yung fluid nasa syringe. So nawala yung bukol. The fluid has been taken out. So diagnosis here, it was really a cyst. If you want to be more definite, there's a ganglion cyst there, a ganglion cyst in that elbow. So, kasi joint ito, no? So pag may mga cyst na sa mga joint area, we usually call it ganglion cyst, no? Okay. So in this particular patient, tinanggal with the needle aspiration, which can serve both as diagnostic, kasi nakakuha tayo ng fluid, so 99% tama na tayo, it's a cyst, no? Okay. And then it's also therapeutic kasi natanggal natin yung fluid. So eventually the cyst might disappear. So true enough, when I called up the patient the other day, nawala na yung cyst. No? Okay. Another example will be a patient palpated a breast lump or a mass or a BUKOL. Okay. Initially, we say that there is a mass or a BUKOL or a lump in the breast. Okay. We don't say there is a cyst in the breast right away. Okay, so we have to evaluate this further. So kung meron kayong nakapang bukol or mass, okay, in the breast, no? So yan ang unang sasabihin nyo. May bukol, may lump ako sa suso. Okay? Then, it's only after palpation that we will determine whether it's a cyst or not a cyst. Okay? So it is only after evaluation of the mass, usually by palpation, you can do it. I-press mo lang yung bukol. And kung kadalasan, when I have telemedical consultation, I ask the patients, when they consult me with a breast bukol, I ask them to make some maneuvers through telemedical silang gumagawa. So, dinidiin lang yung labas, no? Kung bumabaon, ay sabi ko, cyst yan. No? Okay. So if the mass is depressible on palpation, that's the time we can say that it is a cyst. If it's not depressible, then it is not a cyst. It is a solid mass. Okay. So when you have a solid mass nakakatakot. So if you palpate the mass, it's a red flag whether it's cancer or not. Then if you palpate it, if you have a cyst, it's most likely benign. But if it's solid, it can be either, it still depends sa sitwasyon, no? And other characteristic, it can either be malignant or benign pa rin. Okay? 50-50 muna, just based on the solid. No? But if it's cystic, 99% benign siya. Okay? So if you have a situation like this, pag may nakapaking bukol, diin lang ninyo, tingnan ninyo kung may fluid or not. Kung may fluid, medyo kampante ka na. No? If it's solid, then you really have to see a doctor right away. No? So cystic masses, as I said, are usually benign. Usually, okay? 99% benign. Solid mass, meaning walang fluid, can either be benign or malignant, 50-50, kasi wala pa tayong ibang findings. If there is a solid mass here and then may mass sa kilikili, most likely it's a cancer because the mass is spread to the kilikili. No? Or if the mass here is solid and it's fixed, it's not movable, no? Then we have to suspect cancer. Okay. Another example, a patient palpated a lump or a mass or bukol on the body surface. Initially, we say that there is a mass, bukol, or lump in the area. We don't say that there is a cyst right away. Okay? So it's only after kapain lang ninyo, kapain natin, that we can say whether the mass is a cyst or not. So if the mass is depressible on palpation, then we can say it is a cyst. If it's not depressible, it is not a cyst. We say it's a solid mass. No? So, ito yung, this turned out to be a cyst, and this is what we usually call a epidermal cyst. No? Ito may capsule siya. No? And then, ang content niya, yung mga semi-solid fluid. No? In this particular case, this is epidermal cyst, semi-solid fluid, parang whiteheads, no? Yung mga libag dyan, ang content nun. So this is a cyst. If it does not contain this one, mga fluid, or this one, semi-solid fluid, then we call it a solid mass. Solid mass. Okay? So takeaway summary. I have clarified the terminology on breast masses, or masses in general. Sorry for this one. It's not breast. Okay. So masses on the body. Use the mass or BUKOL. This is my, if you want lump, pwede na. Lump is very commonly used in English, lump. Okay. Use mass or BUKOL or lump to mean an unusual or abnormal collection of tissues occupying a space. May isang space occupying area yung mass or BUKOL na yun, okay? In any part of the body, kahit saan, okay? So pag kinakapa mo yung katawan mo, dapat smooth siya. Pag may maumbok at tingin ninyo, may space occupying substance in that area, then you say it's a mass, it's a BUKOL, or a lump. Okay? So that particular mass or BUKOL or lump may be of any size or shape. It may be of any consistency. It may be cystic, solid, or complex. It by itself, when you say mass, BUKOL, or lump, it can be of any etiology, either cancer or not cancer, until determined by further assessment. So initially, we do not say cyst until further examination. Pag sinabi ng cyst, you have to justify it. Okay? Sinabi mong cyst because the mass is depressible and most likely contains fluid. Then you are correct. It's a cyst. Okay? But if you don't do the palpation, if you don't determine this, the content of the mass, then you cannot say correctly that it is a cyst. So takeaway in relation to patient empowerment, be always in touch with reliable medical information on terminology of body masses. Knowledge is power. It gives power. Use the 4Ks of patient empowerment: kaalaman, kakayanan, karapatan, and kapangyarihan to gain greater control over decisions in determining the nature of a body mass, whether it is really a mass or BUKOL when you palpated it, when you found one, and whether it is cystic or not. If it's cystic, then most likely it's benign. If it's not cystic, then it's solid. It will connote, it has a different connotation and different implication. And it is any mass that you palpated will be a red flag. So with that, I end my pep talk today. I hope I have empowered you to have an understanding of the terminology of body masses that will be useful in your health management. So before we go to the QA, take the online learning evaluation test exercise for mastery of learning. And then 50 OLETE certificates will entitle one to a free voucher for telemedical consultation. And then put in your feedback on the chat box during the open forum. Okay. So let's now have a group picture before we go to the QA. Okay, show your face. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. 。 The floor is now open for questions and comments. Any questions? Can I make a request? Okay. How many, what are the terminologies that you usually use? Would you like to type in the chat box? Is everything okay with you? Were you able to hear the my lecture?
Yes, very well.
Because Christine was saying, okay, mahina ang camera. So, sa kanya lang yun, ha? Sa kanya lang, hindi sa
Most
atin.
probably.
Okay. So, ano yung mga terminologies that you usually use? Don't be shy, para alam ko rin kung ano. Anong unang lumalabas sa bibig ninyo? Ano, is it mass, lamp, bukol, cyst, ano?
CYST.
Cyst? Oh, Seni, si Seni. Let's go by one by one. Seni, anong ano mo? Anong usual ano tawag? Bukang bibig?
Ang bibig.
Feli, what terminology do you usually use, Feli? Lorly. Jocelyn, T. Radis said that Radis has mass. Mass kayo, Jocelyn.
Mas po sa akin, mas.
Mass. Usually mass ang sinasabi ninyo. Okay. So, tama. And then, kay Lorly, mass. Cyst. Mel Cabrera, lamp or bukol. Cyst, mass or bukol. Okay. So, okay. So nakikita niyo iba-iba, no? This is just an evidence to prove that iba-iba ang usage, no? Concept, no? Okay. Okay lang kung iba-iba, but ang pinaka-danger nito, baka pero kayong connotation eh. Cyst lang ito, so benign ito. Sabihin niyo, benign lang ito. So hindi niyo papatingin kagad sa doktor, di ba? So that's a danger there, no? Okay. So the other, as I said, the other caveat or the precaution taken, yung mga alert advice will be, once you feel something there, whether you call it a cyst, whether you call it a bukol, whether you call it a lump, you call it a tumor, no? It's a red flag already. Red flag, meaning it could either, that's a starting point of trying to decide whether it's cancer or not. Okay? Yun muna kasi pressing problem, cancer or not. No? So, after the further examination, that's the only time that you can tell that whether the true nature of that mass, no? Whether it's cystic, it's cyst or not. No? Okay. So, ganun din sa when you have cyst, as I said, the implication of cyst, it's benign. 99% benign yan, no? Most of the time. So, if you have a breast, pag cyst lumabas sa ultrasound ninyo, no? A lot of you have ultrasound. Pag nakalagay doon cyst, no? Wag na kayo matakot, no? Okay. So, most like 99% fluid lang yon, no? If you have a cyst on the thyroid, ganun din. Thyroid ultrasound, ganun din, no? Okay. If you have a yung mga CT scan or ultrasound of the kidney, kung may cyst in the kidney, wag din kayo matakot. No? Okay? Kidney. No? Okay? Ano pa usually ang common nakikita ng cyst? Liver. Okay? Sa liver, kadalasan may nakikitang cyst din sa liver. No? So, when you have cyst, naka-report doon, wag kayo matakot. Pero pag sinabi nilang solid, matakot na kayo. Okay. Pag sinabi niyang solid mass on the liver, on the pancreas, on the spleen, on the kidney, yon, mas nakakatakot. So it needs further evaluation, no? Okay. Pero kung cyst lang, they use the word cyst, may fluid, malaking chance na walang problema. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Any questions? Anybody who wants to share their experiences? Anybody? Walang questions sa chat box?
There is.
So ano pang i-discuss natin? Phoebe, can I hear you from you? Phoebe. Unmute yourself, Phoebe. Phoebe, unmute. Unmute ka muna. Itatanong lang ako sa'yo. Hindi niya ma-unmute.
Ay, iba pa lang nang naano ko, sorry.
Okay na.
Video
Okay
pala
na.
yun.
We got it na. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So nakuha mo, pag may cyst, pag may mass, it could be cystic or solid. Diba?
Yes.
Okay.
Kasi mayroon din ako dito sa ulo eh.
Oh, sige.
Yung
Ano yan?
matigas siya, matigas.
So may bukol ka.
May bukol.
Okay? So kapain mo, is it cystic or solid?
No, solid siya.
Solid siya.
Yung-
Okay. Pag solid siya, okay, you examine it further. Matigas na matigas ba kasing tigas ng buto o kaya yung noo mo, yung ano, yung skull mo? Matigas na
Hindi,
matigas?
hindi naman masyado.
So,
Pero dati po, doktor, na-examine nyo na ito eh. Pina-ultrasound ako. Yung ito.
sige.
Pero ayos naman. Sabi mo, hindi naman kailangang itanggalin.
So, anong sabi ko sa'yo? Nakalimutan ko na.
Yun nga, hindi naman daw kailangan tanggalin. Yung okay lang daw, sabi ko ninyo.
Hindi.
Yung
So,
hindi
ganun
ko
yan. Ganun yan. Pag
nawala
may
yung...
nakapakang bukol,
Mm,
kapain mo pa further, titingnan mo kung bumabaon o hindi. No?
hindi.
Bumabaon, solid, usually solid siya. Pero kung
Yes.
saan, kung maliit ang bukol, mahirap sabihin. Kung mas malaking bukol, no, mas madaling idiin na at makikita mo kung may fluid, di ba? Kung maliit lang,
Maliit lang kasi ito eh. Maliit lang siya,
yan lang.
maliit lang. Ito.
Sige,
Walang
sabihin
maliit
natin,
lang.
wala siyang fluid, solid siya. No?
Solid po.
Solid siya. Okay, so the next thing to determine is saan siya, kasi meron kang balat dyan, meron ka ring buto. Di ba?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So titingnan mo, is it coming from the bone? Kaya kakapain mo, tingnan mo kung bony heart siya. Yung kasing tigas ng buto. Pag
Hindi po.
pag
Hindi.
hindi siya at gumagalaw siya,
Hindi naman. Basta, pero hindi siya naman masyadong matigas.
kaya nga,
Ganun
pero hindi
lang
siya
siya.
gumagalaw. Hindi siya
Hindi po.
gumagalaw. Ganun mo lang. Hindi siya gumagalaw.
Hindi.
Okay. So pwedeng ano yan, kung matigas na matigas yan, pwedeng umusli lang yung buto. So it's not a mass after all. Umusli lang siya, no? Prominence, no?
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So kung
Kasi-
umusli lang, we don't call it a mass already, no? Okay, kasi na-examine na natin, no? Okay?
Yes, no.
So initially, pwede kang magsabi, ay may bukol ako, pero it needs further examination. Okay?
Na-ultrasound na po ito noon eh.
Okay nga. Anong result nga? Gusto ko malaman. Anong result para matuto tayo lahat dito?
Sabi ko naman ninyo, hindi naman kailangang tanggalin siya.
Kaya
Okay
nga.
lang siya.
Kaya nga.
Wala. Oo.
Bago
Pero
ako
wala kasi yung result ng ultrasound ko eh. Hindi ko
hindi mo
nasa file ko.
matandaan. Hindi mo matandaan, no? Okay. So,
Yes.
usually, ini-explain ko naman muna anong diagnosis bago ako mag-recommend na hindi kailangan tanggalin, no? But we start with the
Yes.
diagnosis, no?
Kasi yung galing na sa ultrasound, sabi niyo, hindi na kailangan tanggalin. Okay na.
May sinabi ba ako sa iyo na
Ayos.
ano? May sinabi ba ako sa iyo exostosis, natatandaan mo? Exostosis?
Wala po. Wala.
Wala akong sinabing exostosis na umusli lang yung buto, yung konting ano,
Mm.
makapal. Wala akong sinabi noon, makapal ang buto?
Wala. Wala.
Okay. So it could be a kung di siya buto, it's soft tissue. It could be from the scalp, from the yung mga fat, mga taba diyan, no? Galing doon sa leeg, no? Okay.
Yes.
So then probably it's still benign, no? So that's why
Yes.
based on the ultrasound baka benign siya, no? So
Yes.
pinayo ko sa iyo, i-observe lang natin, di ba? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So ilang taon na 'yan?
Before pandemic, yung last na check ko sa'yo noon eh. Before pandemic na yun.
So,
2 years
mga 3
ago.
years na, hindi naman lumalaki.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, hindi po. Ganon pa rin.
So that's another lesson that we all learn from this. After the diagnosis, after we do further examination, we come out with the diagnosis and then we make a decision. No?
Yes.
Kung
Yes.
cystic, pwedeng i-aspirate. Pag solid, pwedeng kung benign siya, no, pwedeng obserbahan
Yes.
lang, pwedeng naman hindi tanggalin kung hindi siya nakakaistorbo, no? Kung malaki-laki ng konti at naistorbo ka, tanggalin, no? Operasyon.
Ganon pa rin size simula nung
Yan
na-examine ko
na.
ninyo.
Okay, tama 'yon. Okay. Thank you. Thank you para
Okay, thank you.
meron tayong example to show for
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Para may mga questions, I think. Etheline Santos.
Yeah.
Okay. Si Etheline Santos, ito ba unang tanong? Etheline
Let me
Santos,
see.
the result of ultrasound in November was just a cyst of what? Ano yung cyst saan? Etheline Santos, can you unmute yourself, Etheline?
Doc, breast.
Okay. Sa breast. Okay. So, cyst lang sa breast. Gano'ng kalaki?
No more than 1 cm.
Okay. So, no more than 1 cm. Kung may cyst ka dyan, usually fibrocystic yon, no? Okay. Fibrocystic, which are due to hormonal changes, no? So, you were told to do monitoring, inulit ang ultrasound, nagmamo at nag-core needle. Malignant na pala siya. Okay. So,
Invasive carcinoma.
cyst ba nakalagay doon?
Nung November, Doc. Pero nung pinaulit sa ibang hospital, iba rin na yung doctor ko, nag-second opinion ako, invasive carcinoma na pala.
Okay. Let's try to analyze it lang para for our learning, no? Okay.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So, November 2021, nagpa-ultrasound ka. May nakapa ka bang bukol?
Yes, Doc. No pain at all. Nakapako lang
May
talaga.
nakapa ka. Pero yung report nun, less than 1 centimeter?
Yes, Doc. Hindi nga rin makapa ng surgeon kung saan, kung hindi ko pa talaga tinuro sa kanya, as in hindi niya rin mahanap kung saan.
So, ikaw nagturo?
Yes, Doc.
Nung tinuro mo sa kanya, sinabi niya, ay, oo nga, no? Ganun ba?
Actually, hindi siya ma-convince na meron, kaya sabi niya, magpa-ultrasound ako. Kaya it turned out to be a cyst. So sabi niya, monitoring lang. Kung lalaki siya.
Okay. So, okay. And then after that, minomonitor mo, kailan inulit ba yung ultrasound mo because of just the, for follow-up or lumalaki yung bukol mo?
Yes, Doc. For follow-up lang, yung another ultrasound, tapos, sige, para magkaroon ka ng peace of mind, ipamammogram mo na. Tapos sa hospital na yun, kung saan ako nagpamammogram tsaka ultrasound, iba na yung nakita nila. Kaya sabing ganon, kahit daw maliit, pwede naman siyang i-biopsy. Na magpa-biopsy ako, doon nakita na invasive carcinoma na pala siya.
Okay. Okay. So what, okay. Ito yung mas, ano bang, okay. Thank you for sharing with us your experience. But let me make use of your sharing and convert that, to convert it to some learning from our participants. No? Okay.
Yes, Doc.
So, may nakakapa ka, walang makapaing doktor. Okay? In
Yes,
the
Doc.
lecture ko, all those who attended my lecture in breast self-examination, di ba?
Yes,
Ang sinabi
actually,
ko sa inyo,
nag-BFE ako.
you start with your breast self-examination before you see the doctor. No? Kayo muna.
Yes,
No?
Doc.
Ito yung illustration of what I just, or validation of what I mentioned last time. No? You have to do your breast self-examination. Kasi kung hindi kayo nag-breast self-examination, punta lang kayo sa doctor, hindi niya nakakapa, pero ikaw nakakapa mo. Diba? So you are at a
Yes,
better, you have a in a better advantage of detecting the mass, di ba? No?
Yes, Doc.
Kaya umpisahan niyo muna sa breast self-exam bago kayo pumunta sa doktor. Kasi yung doktor, pwede sila magkamali and they usually at a disadvantage kasi hindi naman niya palagi kinakapa yung breast niyo. No? Okay. Kayo,
Okay.
palagi niyo kinakapa. So, madali niyo ma-discover. No? Kaya always practice breast self-examination. Okay, don't rely too much on the doctors without doing your breast self-examination. So nung nagpunta ka sa kanya, sinabi niya wala, pero sa iyo meron, no? So pina-ultrasound, cyst lang. So gaano kalaki yung nakapa mo?
So, Doc, parang ano lang siya, parang size lang ng mais.
Size ng mais pero nakakapa mo, okay?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so size of a mais will be more or less 1 centimeter or even a little less, no? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And then, nung in ultrasound, sinabi niyang, they use the word cyst, walang solid.
Wala, Doc. Cyst lang talaga. Wala nang description.
Walang, anong walang,
I mean, Doc, ang nakalagay, in cyst lang ang nakalagay sa kanya. I mean, walang nakalagay kung solid cyst ba siya or what.
ilan ang nakita?
Isa lang, Doc. Yung nakakapa ko lang.
Yung nakakapa mo, sinabi nilang cyst.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so nakita mo in the word cyst, CYST.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So, ang size nun, less than ilan centimeters?
Less than 1 centimeter.
Less than 1 centimeter. Okay. So, okay. So, kung talagang cyst siya, so it jives with what also I was telling you, majority will be benign but not 100%. It could 1%
Okay.
could still be malignant, no? Okay? So,
Okay, Doc.
importante yung follow-up, monitoring. Tama yung ginawa ninyo, monitor ninyo, no? Okay? So while you monitor, you do your breast self-examination on a monthly basis. Kung palagay mo after 2 months, 3 months, mas lumalaki na, you don't have to wait for the ultrasound or mammo, no? Kasi yung schedule ng ultrasound mo, follow-up ultrasound, usually they will tell you 6 months after, di ba? O 1 year after,
Yes,
di ba?
Doc. Sabi ko
Okay.
lang, hindi ba pwede mas mababa, mas agahan lang. Okay.
Sige, pag may nakapa ka, lumalaki, kinakapa mo yung breast mo at palagay mo lumalaki, you don't have to wait for the next, yung schedule na 6 months, no? Okay? Pwedeng
Yes,
ulitin yon ulit, no? Okay? So, nung kailan mo na, 2021, November, kailan mo nakapa na kailan inulit yung ultrasound mo?
Doc, mga February na.
February, that's about 3 months after lang.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Pinaulit ng same doctor?
Yes, Doc. For Actually, gusto niya March. So, February daw, ng last day ng February. Pero March 1 ako nagpa-ultrasound ulit.
Pero
Same doctor, Doc.
may nakakapa na siya.
Meron na, Doc, kung i-guide ko siya kung saan. Kung siya lang mismo, hindi pa rin niya nakakapag mag-isa.
Nung February or March.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So pero sinabi mo meron ka nakakapa. Okay. So that's good.
Doc.
So pina-ultrasound, anong lumabas sa ultrasound mo ulit? Yung repeat ultrasound.
May bilateral breast masses, pati sa kaliwa meron na suspicious sonographic features.
Same sa same hospital mo pinagawa? Same
Ibang
clinic?
hospital na, Doc. Sa ibang hospital na.
Okay. So again, that's a lesson that I have been telling you. Okay, you can have different interpretations. Pwedeng mali yung una, okay? So yung second one, pwedeng tama. So tumama nga, no? Okay? So remember
Doc.
that yung ultrasound, yung mga results, no? Kuminsan they are not really perfect, no? May mga unreliability, no? Kuminsan babasahin nila benign pero malignant pala. Kuminsan babasahin nila malignant pero benign pala. Okay? Iba-iba, no? Okay? So importante yung monitoring and then yung repeat ultrasound if need be. And then yung nakita sa 2021 cyst, sinabing cyst, anong naging solid?
Wala namang sinabi, Doc, bahat yung second na ultrasound ko, yung nakalagay sa BI-RADS category, suspicious abnormality. Tsaka talagang sabi niya, mas maganda kung tawag dito, mababiopsy ako kasi iba daw talaga itsura niya.
Okay. Ano yung mammo results mo?
Mammo results.
BI-RADS?
Right.
Zero?
Meron na, Doc, na
BI-RADS 0?
BI-RADS 0, incomplete.
Okay. Again, yan sinasabi ko sa inyo. So those who've been attending my lecture, no? Okay. So sometimes you don't need your mammo, you just rely on your ultrasound. Sayang lang. Because 0 din ibibigay sa iyo, di ba? 0 means
Yes, Doc.
additional test. Sayang lang, di ba? Okay. But strictly speaking, hindi dapat mag-BI-RADS 0 yung conclusion nila. Okay? They will see kung anong may nakita, kung may nakitang ebidensya o wala. But basta kung sinabi niyang negative, may basihan sila. Talaga naman negative, di ba? Okay? Kasi yung hinahanap sa mammo, yung mga microcalcifications, no? Okay? Hindi yung mga bukol-bukol, no? Microcalcifications. Kung sinabing wala, sabihin nila wala. Okay? And then bahala na yung breast specialist to recheck, no? Ibabangga niya sa ultrasound. Siya nang bahala, no? Okay? So,
Yes,
nag-core needle invasive ductal carcinoma. Okay.
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So, lesson learned, marami, no? Marami tayong natutunan dito. Basta importante, you were able to feel a mass, no, sa breast. Yung starting point, you felt a mass, a lump in the breast. And then, pina-ultrasound mo. Sa liit na yon, pala ikaw, hindi mo masasabi kung talagang cyst or solid, di ba? Okay, sa maliit, masyadong maliit, no? Pero binasahan ka ng cyst sa ultrasound, which should be kampante ka na, pero ay mali pala, di ba? Mali pala
Yes,
yung
Doc.
reading. Okay. So, anyway, what's more important is really close follow-up. Importante yung follow-up, monitoring, no? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Doc.
So, any question that you want to ask? Thank you for sharing.
Welcome, Doc. Sa ngayon, Doc, wala, Doc. Gusto ko lang i-share sa kanila na walang bahala yung maliliit lang na nakakapa nila.
Okay.
Yun lang, Doc.
Okay. So, okay, Jocelyn T.
Yeah, Jocelyn T.
Yun. Dr. Joson operated on my husband's solid mass sa back ng neck. Tapos, even before the operation, he already said it is only a mass of fat. Nag-decide kami na patanggalin for peace of mind. Tapos, Dr. Joson even said na it might reappear. And true enough, meron na naman siyang mass sa neck.
Okay. So hindi mo ako sisisihin, ha?
Hindi. Hindi.
Okay. Okay, pero yung so you may mass sa neck, back of the neck,
Yes.
lipoma,
Yes.
no? Lipoma lumabas, di ba? Taba, no? Lipoma.
Taba.
Okay. So it's not a cyst. When you say lipoma, it's not a cyst, no? It's a solid, no? Okay. So then the the lipoma was operated on. So just like yung anything that were operated on in the body, no doctor will guarantee that it won't recur, no?
Yes. Doc, it was our decision kasi you told us pwedeng hindi i-opera.
Yeah, okay. So okay. So kuminsan umuulit nga talaga yung mga taba, yung lipoma. Parang sa akin, kita mo, marami akong lipoma. May lipoma ako rito, may lipoma ako rito, may lipoma rito sa iba-ibang lugar, no? So if I operate on this, magre-recur doon sa ibang lugar, no?
Yes.
So sa ngayon, I just observe them. I don't wala pa akong major, hindi ko pa pinapatanggal, no? Okay. Pwede pa, no? Okay.
Okay.
So any more questions?
Me, doctor.
Sure.
I have a mass naman sa sobrang liit. I myself cannot kapa it. Even the surgeon, hindi din niya nakapa. So, close monitoring na lang every 6 months by ultrasound.
May nakapa ka o wala?
Wala. Sa sobrang liit ng...
You're talking about the breast?
Yes.
Okay. Sa breast, kasi sa breast, no? Usually makakapa lang yung mass kung mga on the average 1 centimeter, no? Okay?
Yes.
Pero depende sa taba o kapayat ng pasyente. Kung masyadong payat, no? Even less than 1 centimeter, let's say 0.7 centimeter, makakapa mo, no? Pero kung mataba, even with 1 centimeter, mahirap kapain, no? Okay? So depende sa sitwasyon, no? But in general, if there's the mass on ultrasound shows that it's less than 1 centimeter, no? Usually hindi makakapa yon. Usually, no? Okay? So that's what I usually tell my patients. Once less than 1 centimeter, kahit na ganun kagaling yung kapa ko, no, hindi ko makakapa, no? Okay, that's the limitation of the fingers, no? Ganon, no? Okay. So, pero ano yung lumabas ay cyst? Kung lumabas ay cyst, ang description cyst or no?
Actually, hindi ko na emphasize kung cyst-soma. I will go back to all the results later on after this talk.
Okay.
Thank you for this talk.
If it's cyst, i-observe mo lang. Observe mo lang. Okay. I hope it won't turn out just like the one kay ethylene. No? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, but majority will be benign. Okay. So, i-observe mo lang. Close monitoring lang. And then, if there are other so-called nodules, usually nodules sometimes they use the word mass din sa ultrasound, no? Mass, nodules, no? Okay. Pag may solid at multiple, huwag ka rin matakot muna. Basta hindi mo nakakapa. Wala kang nakakapa.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? Kasi pag narinig mo yung kanina, sabi ko, kung solid nodules ang nakita mo, no? Nakapa mo, no? Medyo alanganin na, di ba? Alanganin na. Pero iba yung sitwasyon sa kapa, iba yung sitwasyon sa ultrasound. Sa ultrasound ng breast, we're talking about ultrasound ng breast. Pag sinabi niyang meron kang nakakapang bukol at solid siya, yon talagang matakot ka na. Pero kung wala kang nakakapa at solid nodules ang nakareport sa ultrasound, no? Wala kang nakakapa, ha? and then meron ka
Yes.
ring mga cyst, mga cystic areas. This is what we call fibrocystic
Fibrocystic.
changes. Fibrocystic. Yung solid na yon is represent this fibrous. No, yung isang yung cystic area represent the cystic of part of the word fibrocystic, no? Ganon. Hormonal changes lang yan, no?
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Doc.
Basta importante wala kang makapa. Yan, bottom line is wala kang makapa. The moment may makapa
Yes.
ka, just like kay ethylene,
Check
no?
up agad.
Oh, pa-monitor mo kagad, no? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Doc.
Okay. Any more questions? No more questions? It's already at 3:17. Okay. So, who likes to volunteer and make a summary of what we talk about? Anybody? Volunteer? Si Christy magsa-summarize. Nakita ko na si Christy. Christy, summarize mo. Ha? Unmute ka. Okay, unmute. Okay. Summarize mo nga.
Dali, Doctor, yung lumps
Ah,
na nakita po,
ah,
yung para sa akin po hindi po lahat ng bukol na nakakapa o nakikita, hindi po ibig sabihin cancerous po lahat.
okay.
Katulad po nung sa akin,
Mhm.
di ba meron din po ako ng bukol sa breast,
Okay.
pero hindi naman po siya cancerous, Doc.
Okay.
Siguro po kailangan lang talaga po yung breast self examination lang po talaga. Tsaka
Okay.
siguro yung manalig sa Diyos na hindi po lahat ng bukol maging cancerous.
Yeah.
Yun lang po.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, once you have a mass bukol, no? Red flag siya, and then siyempre unang impulse matatakot ka. Pero kapain mo pa. If it's unang titingnan, don't rely on the size mo na. Ang unang titingnan mo whether it's cystic or not. Okay? Kung cystic, medyo huminga ka ng konting malalim. Okay, makakahinga ka ng konti, no? Okay? So, then have it consult, no? And then the other thing that will make you consult yung laki ng yung mass, no? Okay? And other findings, baka yung mga bukol ay may pula, makapal, matigas, no? Okay, yung mga signs of cancer. Signs of cancer, number 1 is yung solid siya. Number 2, we're talking about breast, no? Breast mass. So number 2, yung border niya, hindi siya malinaw. Number 3, hindi siya gumagalaw, fix siya. Number 4, kuminsan may mga pula-pula na hinihila na yung balat, no? From the outside, from the inside. And then kung may kulani, yon, delikado na yon. Far advanced na yon kung may kulani, no? Medyo advanced na, no? Okay. So you look for signs of cancer. Kung wala nang signs of cancer, most likely benign siya, no? Okay. Okay. So, pinaka-importante doon yung cystic. Pag cystic siya, may fluid, 99% usually benign siya, no? Okay? Yan ang ano mo, yan ang pang-consolation mo, no? Okay. Okay. So, we'll call it a day. So, the next okay. So, we would like to invite everybody before I forget, no? Yung Cancer Crusaders Club annual Christmas get-together meeting will be on December 4, 10 to 12. Mag-register na kayo, no? O konti pa nagre-register, no? Please register. And then we're now trying to finalize yung program, no? And then ano pa? Yung breast self-examination, tinatapos ko pa yung mga breast self-examination awards, no? So, okay. So, we will be giving out the awards. Yung ibang awards, yung unang awards, nabigay ko na yung, yung cash award kay Imelda Cabrera, no? Okay. So, the others will be out soon after I compiled all the yung mga certificates, saka yung feedback, no? Okay. And then lastly, next topic will be in preparation for the Cancer Crusaders Club. We will have for the next week topic will be cancer journey sharing. How to do it, na? Okay. Cancer journey sharing. Now that's the topic next week. Then after that, yung next Saturday wala tayong meeting. Wala tayong pep talk, but that's already December 4, Sunday, no? So mag-attend na lang kayo ng Sunday. Then after that, we'll have another topic related to cancer. Baka ang susunod will be how to live a life with cancer. Okay? How to live a life with cancer, no? Okay. So I'm still formulating yung lecture ko, yung mga topics, no? Okay? Okay. So there are no more questions. We call it a day. No? Okay. So
Thank you,
for
Doc.
coming. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you po, Doc.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you po, Doc.
Sige.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Malinaw ba, Abet, yung pasok na yan? Yung boss, yung
Yes.
sound system ko?
Maganda siya. Very clear.
Okay. Sinasira yung isang computer ko. I'm trying this out. No. Okay.
Mamaya ako ipasa yung recording ko.
Okay. So, goodbye. See you.
Ay, muta ko na may kakulit.